We live in an era of crisis. Under the conditions of falling living standards, more and more people are wondering why this is happening, and gradually come to Marxism. In an effort to get up-to-date information, they also go to YouTube, where various left-wing bloggers try to interpret the theory from their positions. The need for a critical approach to such content makes it inevitable to turn to Marxist literature. However, the purposeful study of the theory is often conducted haphazardly, starting immediately with such works as Capital, Anti-Düring, or The Science of Logic by Hegel. A person risks making a serious mistake. The complex presentation of the material in these works can greatly slow down the learning process, or even discourage them from continuing to work. Therefore, today we will talk about how to study Marxism correctly and which works are best to start with. The whole epoch of the existence of the Soviet state has left us with a legacy of vast theoretical and practical experience in the struggle of Marxism against bourgeois thought, reactionary trends, and deviations. In the course of this struggle, textbooks were created for workers with a comprehensive and intelligible explanation of the main issues of Marxist ideology. These books were strictly edited by Soviet theorists, party workers, and sometimes personally by Joseph Stalin. The textbooks of the first half of the existence of the USSR are distinguished by a clear class formulation of the question and a sustained line in accordance with the revolutionary teachings of Marx. They were created to popularize the ideas of Marxism and explain its main issues in simple and clear language. At the beginning of this study, it would be correct to turn to works that give an initial idea of Marxism and its origin. Without a common understanding of the fundamental aspects of Marxist teaching, their ordering in the general system of scientific communism, it would be a mistake to embark on more difficult and specific works. Marxism-Leninism. In 1848, for agitation among the workers during the revolution in Europe, Marx and Engels wrote the Manifesto of the Communist Party. The manifesto outlines in a concise and accessible form the development of capitalism and the class nature of the struggle between the proletariat and the bourgeoisie. In general, this book has passed the test of time, and the final words of the manifesto have become the motto of communists all over the world. An equally important work on the foundations of Marxism is The Principles of Communism, authored by Friedrich Engels. In the clear form of questions and answers, Engels presents communism as a full-fledged and consistent teaching about the liberation of the working class from the oppression of capital. In his work, he reveals the production and economic foundations of the position of the proletariat and its difference from the classes that existed before. The encyclopedic essay, Karl Marx, written by Lenin in November 1914, deserves special attention. It describes the main stages of the life of the great figure of scientific communism and the historical context that influenced his formation, reveals the foundations of the philosophy of Marxism, Marx's economic theory, questions of tactics, and the doctrine of socialism. A related work, Three Sources and Three Components of Marxism, shows the emergence of the theory and its connection with the most progressive achievements of philosophy, economics, and politics of that period. These works give an idea of Marxism before the October Revolution. Given Lenin's enormous contribution to Marxist theory, after 1917, it was customary to speak of Marxism-Leninism. An overview of Leninism is given in the works of Stalin. His work, On the Issues of Leninism, written in 1926, is devoted to the main issues of Marxist-Leninist theory: the proletarian revolution, the dictatorship of the proletariat, the union of the working class and the peasantry, the role of the party in the system of the dictatorship of the proletariat, the theory of the world revolution, and the construction of socialism in one country. Another work, Foundations of Leninism, closely adjoins this work of Stalin. It is a course of lectures delivered by him at the Sverdlovsk University in 1924. The work also examines the key points of Marxism, but at the same time touches on the national question, the tactics of the party, and the style of work. The works listed above allow us to understand the theory of Marxism in general. Now, we will present several works on narrower areas, such as dialectical materialism, Marxist political economy, and Lenin's doctrine of the party. Dialectical materialism. It is recommended to begin the study of dialectical materialism with Stalin's work, Dialectical and Historical Materialism, written for the short course of the CPSUB. On the basis of revolutionary practice, Stalin summarizes the contribution of Marx, Engels, and Lenin to the doctrine of materialist dialectics, highlights the main provisions of dialectics, and ways of its applications to the practical struggle of the working class. A more structured and detailed view is presented by the 3-volume work Dialectical Materialism by the English communist Maurice Cornforth. With the exception of positive assessments of Mao Zedong, the first and second volumes of the book are of the greatest value for mastering the most important and basic provisions of dialectical materialism, the method underlying Marxist teaching. A must-read is the first chapter of the first volume, in which Cornforth emphasizes the class and party character of philosophy. The language of the presentation is simple and will not cause difficulties with understanding and comprehension of what is read by a person with any education. This will allow students of Marxism-Leninism to form a holistic scientific and materialistic picture of the world very quickly, and will teach them to apply the method of dialectical materialism to analyze the surrounding reality, which means they will learn to understand the class essence of the phenomena of the surrounding social life. Political economy. A more systematic understanding of the operation of the economic laws of capitalism and socialism can be obtained from the work Political Economy, written under the guidance of Ostrovitchanov. It will prepare for a deeper and more private study of the fundamental works of the classics and teach the basics of analyzing various aspects of the economy of modern capitalism. Those who are interested in the embodiment of communism in practice are recommended to study Lenin's work entitled The Great Beginning, which is devoted to the first experience of holding communist subordinates, increasing labor productivity in the socialist economy, as well as the essence of the new system and the destruction of classes. Communism and the Party. How is socialism built? The doctrine of the state is one of the most important issues in Marxism. The State and Revolution, written by Lenin on the eve of the October Revolution, most accurately defines the essence of the state as a machine of oppression of one class by another. In this work, Lenin showed how the views of Marx and Engels on the state developed, and stressed that the question of the state is one of the fundamental issues of Marxism. Vladimir Lenin analyzed the relationship of the state with the class character of society, substantiated the regularity and inevitability of the socialist revolution and the dictatorship of the proletariat, revealed the essence and tasks of the proletarian state and proletarian democracy, developed the Marxist doctrine of socialism and communism, and highlighted other issues. Communists can come to power and build socialism only by acting together. Organization occupies a special place in Marxist theory. What it should be and how to create it is analyzed in detail by Vladimir Lenin in his works Where to Begin and What is to be Done, which played an outstanding role in the struggle for the Marxist Workers' Party. In his works, Lenin substantiated and developed, in relation to the new historical situation, the ideas of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels about the party as the guiding and organizing force of the working class movement, developed the foundations of the doctrine of a new type of party, the Party of the Proletarian Revolution. In addition, the pamphlet The Tasks of the Proletariat in Our Revolution should be attributed to the issues of tactics and strategy of the party in the era of the intensification of the class struggle. It reveals the class character of the February Revolution that took place at that time, clearly outlines the position of the Bolsheviks in relation to various unstable and changeable forces. The 10 principles of the Great October Socialist Revolution set forth in this work, even after a century, amaze with their relevance, simplicity, clarity of thought, power of persuasion, and foresight of the political situation. They gave the Bolshevik Party and the proletariat of Russia a plan of struggle for the transition of the bourgeois revolution into the socialist revolution. Those interested in the construction and tactics of the Communist Party should definitely pay attention to the textbook History of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, short course, approved by Stalin and published in 1938. The second chapter of the publication contains a brief summary of the Marxist position on the issue of party building. In other sections, the essence and dangers of deviations and revision of Marxism are revealed. The principles of historical and dialectical materialism and the foundations of Marxism-Leninism are given. Studying of these works will help a person to lay the foundation for further and more serious study of Marxist theory. The basic knowledge from these books will allow you to freely navigate and correctly understand the essence of the multifaceted teachings of Marx and Lenin. However, the study of the theory of Marxism is not conceivable without its practical application. Theory is as dead without practice as practice is blind without theory. The restoration of this broken unity is one of the priorities of modern Marxists, and this task is beyond the shoulders of single enthusiasts. Simply reading books with works on Marxism cannot give any practical result. Life requires passing on this knowledge to other people, helping them break the shackles of ignorance and prejudice. This is only possible for the organization of people who firmly stand on the positions of Marxism-Leninism. Practice shows that this is the only way to learn a lesson from the rich experience of the world revolutionary movement and formulate an effective and correct program of action for the liberation of workers in the conditions of modern capitalism. If a person really understood the meaning of these works and the logic of Marx's teaching and its essence, then the work on creating such an organization is his duty to history. Till next time.